Good morning, friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to be doing such a fun vlog because it's basically going to be a mood reading vlog, but it's going to be books that I've anticipated that I think will be 5 stars, and it's a birthday treat for myself. So if I've timed this out properly and such, this video will be going up on my birthday, which is November 11th, which is a random Tuesday, and you guys know I don't upload on Tuesdays, but I'm like, might as well for my birthday. But the official title for this video is seeing how many 5 stars I can find in one video. Now, I've seen a lot of these videos up in the past, and so many people either try and get 3 or 4 books. I'm going to try and get at least 4 books read within this video and such, and just kind of tell you about my thoughts, because these are books that I've either recently gotten on my TBR that I think I will love, and they're all by authors that I have loved in the past, and they have a very high chance of getting a 5-star essentially. So let me grab the book stack. It's literally right back there and such. But the books that I have that I really do think could be 5 stars is King of Envy by Anna Huang, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, not The Inheritance Games, The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, still in the same series, Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Now I'm going to go through each of the books individually and tell you why I think I will give them 5 stars, and then we'll start out with the first book in this video. So to start with the first book on the stack and such like that, we have King of Envy by Anna Huang. I love Anna Huang's books so much. I have a whole shelf dedicated to this woman after all, So I have that. And King of Envy is the 5th book in the Kings of Sin series. I almost forgot the name of the series. And people have been loving this one because she kind of goes back to her roots of morally gray men and such. And I will say, I don't know still how I feel about her morally gray men, but I've just heard so many people just raving about this book, and I want to read it before King of Gluttony comes out. That way, when King of Gluttony comes out, I can read it as soon as it comes out essentially. But this one follows Volk and Ayana. Basically, to start off with Ayana, she's engaged to one of Volk's best friends essentially, and Volk has pretty much had eyes on her ever since they met essentially, but he really kind of hates the fact that Ayana is getting married to this dude, when in reality he has been pining for her for a while. He met her first, he saw her first, he loved her first and such. But what he doesn't know is that Ayana and this engagement that she has is actually a business deal. She's a very, very popular model. On the outside, she has a perfect life essentially, and pretty much along the lines of Ayana, she's in this modeling agency, of course, and apparently it has been really, really abusive towards her, and we get a little bit of glimpse of that in King of Sloth, which was the previous book of this, but it's been a while since I've read it that I can't quite remember how we got introduced to that aspect. But basically Ayana is basically and this dude that she needs to marry, he gets his inheritance essentially, and then she gets the money to be able to leave this abusive agency. But Ayana's eyes keep a little bit of a lock on Volk, and we're just kind of seeing what their story is and such. Volk, I've also been told, is mute. He doesn't speak so much because of something in his past or whatever. So I'm really kind of interested to see their relationship. It's also a chunky one. This guy is chunky, which I personally don't mind, If it has a reason to be chunky, then I don't mind personally. So hopefully I do like the fact that it is chunky at least. So yeah, that's the first book that we have for this vlog. And then the next book that we have for this vlog is The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The reason why I'm reading this one is because Jennifer Lynn Barnes has gotten a 6-star series. So me personally, specifically The Naturals, I have a whole shelf right there as well too of The Inheritance Games and The Naturals along with Heartstopper and such. But I found The Naturals last summer and I really, really liked it, and it almost made me kind of go down a rabbit hole of her stuff. So last fall, I read The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, loved it, gave it a 4-star. It wasn't completely like what I was like thinking what was going to happen, but also at the same time, I did enjoy it. And then I read the second one like immediately straight afterwards because I'm like, I am so intrigued to see what it is. And I gave that one a 4-star too. I did enjoy it, but I do think that it kind of suffered a little bit of second book syndrome, if you guys know what I mean. And this is the last book in the original trilogy because there's like a spin-off series going on with the Grandest games and like that type of stuff. And honestly, I kind of want to finish this before we get to the TV series because it's just announced that the Inheritance Games is being made into a TV series, which is going to be really interesting to see. It's almost going to it almost kind of reminds me of like a Knives Out situation, you know? Basically, this final book, we are basically following Avery. She's got a couple more weeks left to live in Hawthorne House before she inherits billions of dollars and such. She's been dodging the paparazzi, but financial pressures are building and such, and danger is very much an additive thing to her life since she is inheriting so much money and such, you know? And the only thing getting Avery through all of it is the Hawthorne brothers as her life intertwines with theirs and such. She knows their secrets and they know her. And like as the clock gets ticking down and such, Avery will become the richest teenager in the world. And then trouble arrives in the form of a visitor who needs her help and whose presence in Hawthorne House could change everything. So they've got one final puzzle to solve, and I'm really, really intrigued to see how this is going to go. It's going to be extremely, extremely short chapters because I just know her and such. I know that if Jen like plays her cards right with this one, and like I'm hoping that it's a satisfying conclusion. That way we can move on to the rest of the series and like the rest of the spin-off series and such. I'm just really, really hoping that it also doesn't disappoint me as well too. But yeah, that is the second book that we are going to be reading in this vlog. And then the next book that we have is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. She has become one of my favorite authors of all time just because of Atmosphere alone. Now I know that I'm probably not going to get the same feelings that I did with Atmosphere, but I've gotten a 6-star read from her with Seven Husbands, a 4.5 with Daisy Jones, and an Infinity Star with Atmosphere that I kind of just want to go back in her like discography and just like go back in her backlist, you know, and just kind of just read what she has. And this was, I believe, her 2023 release and such. I got it in the paperback version because they're not printing out the hardcovers anymore and such. But basically, we're following this woman named Carrie Soto, and she basically has this determination that she will win at any cost. And that hasn't really made her very popular and such. But when she retires from tennis, she's literally one of the best players in the entire world. She's broken every single record. She's claimed at least 20 Grand Slam titles and such. And Carrie has been entitled to every single one, especially with how much she has sacrificed with having her dad coach her for so many years and such. And then 6 years after her retirement, Carrie, she's sitting in the stands of the 1994 US Open, watching her record being taken by an upcoming player named Nikki Chan. And at 37, Carrie decides to make a momentous decision to come out of retirement and being coached by her father for one last time to reclaim her record. And we're just kind of like following that. And I'm really, really kind of excited. And keep in mind, I don't know anything about tennis, but the way that Taylor is able to take such good care of whatever professions her characters are writing about or things like that, it is something that I don't even think I need to know every single detail about. But because of how the way she introduces it, I will be able to understand it without knowing anything. I mean anything about this, you know? But that is the next book, or one of the books that we're going to be reading in this vlog. And last but not least, we have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Oh my God, I almost forgot what her name was for a second. But basically, this is going to be, I'm pretty sure this is the prequel novel to the Letters of Enchantment duology, which is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. And honestly, I had no idea this book was coming out until maybe like a couple months ago, you know? I was shocked to see that this was available and such. And this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I usually like to take off the stickers because I'm just like whatever, you know? And just to kind of like tell you about this one, obviously it's a prequel. It's set in the same worlds, but like thousands and thousands of years before the events of the Letters of Enchantment duology. And basically Matilda, she is born into this firelit domain of the Underrealm, and she's the youngest goddess of her clan. Blessed with humble messenger magic, she uses to carry words and letters through the realms, but the gods will kill for power, and Matilda holds a secret she must hide from even her dearest allies, and there is a mortal who dreams of her, though they have never met in the waking world. 10 years ago, Vincent of Beckett wrote to Matilda on the darkest night of his life, begging the goddess he befriended in dreams to help him. His request went unanswered. Vincent became a hardened, irreverent lord of the river who has long forgotten Matilda until she comes tumbling into his bedroom window with a letter for him. Matilda and Vincent were fated to find each other beyond dreams, but to rewrite the blood-soaked ways of the gods, Matilda will have to face something she fears even more than losing her magic, finally allowing herself to be loved. And I think that the reason why I think that I will give this a 5-star to begin with is the Letters of Enchantment series. I loved the first book. I loved Divine Rivals. I gave it a 4.5, and I was so excited to see what was going to happen in the second book. And the second book, it did kind of disappoint me a little bit, but I feel like with knowing a little bit more of the magic and understanding a little bit more about this magic world and this magic system and such, I will be able to kind of like it, honestly, you know? And I'm really, really excited to dive into these ones and such, you know? And honestly, out of all of the books that I have mentioned so far, I honestly think, for some reason, I think I'm going to start with Wild Reverence. I think I just want to get the biggest book out of the way, personally. It's the biggest of the books, essentially, I think. It's around I think it's almost close to 600 pages, but I'm not too sure. I'm super excited for this. I am just like one of those like people who can just be like, wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute. Oh my God. Wait, I didn't know that was, wait, oh my God, I didn't know that was on there. Wait. Not gonna lie, like I said, I had no idea that this book was coming out until a few months ago. I follow Rebecca on Instagram, but like I don't really retain that much information. I'm like, I see book, I buy book, I read book. That's it. Look at this. Oh my God, I did not know that this was going to be on here. Oh my God, this is gorgeous. Oh, and also the end pages. The end pages are gorgeous as well too. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord, this is gorgeous. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, I am so excited to read this. Okay. Well, that's pretty much all like I can like think of. Like I said, I'm going to start Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. I'm so excited for this. I did not know this character art was going to be on like the like hardback. Oh my gosh, that's so fun. And also one of the reasons why I got the hardback is so I can match those two, because those are the hardbacks. Oh my God. And also the blue sprayed edges as well too is gorgeous. Okay, I will probably cut to me starting this book and such. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. besties. I know it's been a while since I pulled out this microphone and such like that, but that's because I wanted to hold tiny microphone, but make it not seem like that I'm holding tiny microphone. Does that make any sense? Probably doesn't. Anyways, I'm coming to check in with you guys. I have made it to almost halfway. To me, that personally looks about halfway of Wild Reverence. This cover, well, not really this cover and such like that, but like these, like this like hardback is so gorgeous in my opinion. And basically just to kind of do like my halfway check-in of Wild Reverence. And I will say, I am liking this, but I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star. I'm not going to lie. We've made it to, or I've made it officially to the halfway mark, roughly-ish, and such like that. I got 2% according to Goodreads, so I'm counting it as halfway, but really I'm 48% of the way, which is fairly close. And I am updating you guys next Monday because, or the week before Monday when I first started up this challenge, because it's taken me a lot longer to read this book than I anticipated. And I am kind of glad that I first got it out of the way because it's the biggest one, I'm pretty sure, but I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest with you. But just a little bit of kind of like background. I think I told you guys a little bit about what Wild Reverence is about. We're following this goddess named Matilda. She is working her way to become the Herald of Gods because she is both an underling and a skyward and such like that. Her father was a skyward while her mother was an underling. And I think the reason why it's taken me so long to kind of absorb this story is a lot of the times when I'm doing my audiobooks, especially since it's like a little bit over halfway through the semester, essentially, you know, it's harder for me to be able to find like perfect like time in between like classes, especially. So a lot of times when I am listening to audiobooks, I am driving on my way back home, essentially, you know, and listening to the audiobooks via that platform. And I've been listening to the audiobook the majority of the time with this and such. And the story is interesting, but I think like the first like 2 acts, because this book is split up into 5 acts. We just got to Act 3 and we got a couple of chapters into Act 3. And now we're getting into kind of like the meat of the story and why Vincent and Matilda are thrown back together again in their adulthood and such like that. Because I found out that this is actually not young adult. It's actually adults. They're like 23, 24, I think, and such like that in this, you know. In like the first part, we like followed her childhood mostly and kind of followed her becoming a god and a goddess and such like that, you know, which I thought it's really, really interesting to hear about how this world worked because especially with coming from Divine Rivals, like I only read that maybe like a year or so ago and I still love it. I love that book to this day and such, but specifically with that one, we didn't really get a lot of the magic that we are getting within Wild Reverence, which I think it doesn't really hinder it and such like that. But like, I'm not like overwhelmed. At the beginning, I was a little bit overwhelmed, but after a little bit, I got into the groove and such of how the gods were playing and how the language was supposed to be within this world and such. Because I'm pretty sure Wild Reverence takes like centuries, like it's like centuries before the events of Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. Because those books more read like historical fiction rather than like historical fantasy because there's not a lot of magic because, spoiler alert, the gods are not as prevalent as they once were, especially within Matilda's time and such. The gods were very much around and such like that. Like you had the Skyward Realm and you have the underlings and such. And for people who have read Divine Rivals, you kind of know what happens when it comes to that and such like that, you know? But story-wise and such, I do feel like it is really, really good. And I feel like a lot of the times when listening to specifically Matilda in the way that she talks, I feel like I'm listening to like Athena or Persephone or Hera, even like just basically telling stories of the gods, which is pretty much what is happening a lot of the times, especially when we're in Matilda's point of view, because we get a lot of backstory as to how the gods work, how the different realms work as well too, because she is skyward and underling and such, so she can basically pass through. And basically what a herald of the gods is she's a messenger. She is meant to travel through different worlds and not to like put put down roots and such, you know? And from where we're at and such like that is when Vincent and Matilda need to align with each other and such. And I can understand the reason why he's a little bit standoffish from Matilda and such, but I understand why, you know, and kind of like the groveling aspect and such like that. Like she needed to grovel for him. But also, when I was first like starting off with this, I'm like, oh, this is like 4.5, maybe 5-star potential and such like that. But then after a little bit, I low-key, and this is where it kind of defaulted me and such like that. Like every single day I read on my commute ride up to school and then back home a lot of the times. But last Thursday, for some reason, I did not want to read a little bit of Wild Reverence, so I did not read it for 3 days. I think it was. And I think that really kind of slowed me down and is kind of what's pushing me off from reading the rest of the book. I am liking it. I am really liking it. I thought it was going to be a 5-star. Apparently it is not, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm still very much enjoying it and such. So with that, plus also, I don't think I could be too mad at this because look at, just look how gorgeous. Oh, hold on. Let me hold it in a better way. Just look at how gorgeous these two are. Just look how gorgeous. But anyways, I truly did not know that was going to be in the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition and such. So I think that's all I have to say for now. I will probably come back in and either kind of confirm still some of my like thoughts on Wild Reverence in my final thoughts and maybe even add a little bit more to it. But I think that's kind of all I have to say, you know? I am enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the characters. I'm enjoying like what is happening and how we're learning about the gods and how the magic of the gods works and such, and how people be bitches and people be peoplein', and how gods and goddesses are low-key some bitches. Some of them are low-key some bitches, to say the least. There's some low-key bitches. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on Wild Reverence, and I will probably come back to y'all's with my final thoughts, either confirming my still thoughts that I had and such like that in this check-in versus when I actually officially finish the book. So I will see you when I have my final thoughts on Wild Reverence.
Hello friends. So I'm coming back with not my final thoughts on the book that I'm currently reading, because I have a little bit of a confession. I am not gonna lie. So I have been reading Wild Reverence for a hot minute and such like that. The regular cover will be up somewhere on the screen, but this is just the hardback version. And I tell you what, I am liking this story, but I'm not too sure if I am able to finish it in the acquired amount of time that I try and finish these books. Because theoretically, this is going to be going out on my birthday exactly on the day, you know? And I want to be able to have enough time to fully edit the clips and kind of talk about this and such like that. So I've made it pretty much halfway, a little bit over halfway of Wild Reverence, and I'm not gonna DNF the book. I'm just going to kind of lightly just put it to the side essentially and then focus on the other books essentially, because I am liking this, but I think the reason why I'm liking it is because I'm taking my time with this book. So you'll probably see it in the November reading wrap up sometime. And you guys know me, I usually don't like to read. I mean, I kind of like to read books at the same time. It just kind of depends on what the genre is, you know? But with this one, I have tried so hard to just pick up the audiobook and just pick it up and such like that, but it only comes at certain times, and I just feel like I'm doing it this a disservice for rushing through it and such. So I'm going to not soft DNF'd it, but I'm basically just putting it to the side so I can focus on the other books in this video that I want to get to. Mostly because the other books that I want to get to in this vlog specifically is Carrie Soto's Back, The Final Gambit, and King of Envy, and I want to be able to get those done in a good amount of time. So Wild Reverence Lawrence is not being a DNF. It's just going to be read kind of throughout the month of November, to be honest with you, just because I want to take my time with it and kind of understand it. Because I am really liking the story, I just feel like if I rush it, I am not going to enjoy the story as much as I am. So kind of like I said at the top, we have the 3 right here and such, and I want to save, I think I want to save King of Envy for the end and such like that, because, you know, Anna, she can do no wrong for me personally. So I think the other 2 that I have here is Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, along with The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And right now, the one that's calling to me is Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, because as you guys know, Taylor Jenkins Reid has become one of my new favorite authors, and this has a very high chance of getting a 5-star from me because of her writing style and just in general, to be honest with you, you know? And I will say, this is a book about tennis. I know absolutely nothing. I mean nothing about tennis. I know absolutely nothing about tennis, to say the least. So going into this, I'm just like, I pick up books by authors that I think I will give 5 stars, but I never truly know, because things can surprise me and things can surprise all of us and such. But the next book we're going to pick up in this is Carrie Soto is Back. Again, we're just putting down Wild Reverence for now. It's not a soft DNF. I'm reading it just like on my own, and it's not going to be finished in this video, to say the least. So yeah, I'm going to finish up some stuff at my desk, and then we're gonna get started reading a little bit of Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Afternoon, friends. I'm coming in with my halfway check-in of Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've made it exactly about halfway and such. I'm on page 205, I believe. I'm on page 205. Yes, I'm on page 205 because now I've gotten to the 1997 French Open, specifically in that section and such. And I'm liking this. I really am liking this story. I mean, I knew I would 100% like this story because, you know, it's Taylor Jenkins Reid, but kind of like how I felt with Atmosphere, I wasn't too sure if I was going to get it because of the astronaut talk. I don't know a lot about NASA, and same with this. I do not know like anything about tennis pretty much, you know? So I was wondering how exactly I was going to feel kind of connected and such to the characters, but I shouldn't have because Taylor just like, she knows how to make me get like connected to people where I've barely known like anything about them and such, you know? Like we saw her basically what this book is about and such like that. Carrie Soto specifically, she sees her record is about to be swooped underneath her and she decides that she's going to come back for one last season and such like that to reclaim her record, essentially, you know, from this like woman named Nikki Chen and such like that, who's a brutal and a stunning player and such like that as well too. And Carrie, she's like 37, I believe, at this point and such, you know, she's coming out of retirement and such, you know. Basically what's happening is we're following her through this journey. She's going into these 4 tournaments and such like that. Specifically, I believe she's going in as a wild card, but I have no idea.
let's be honest, I have no idea, to be honest with you. But like, she's going into the tournaments and such like that. We just got to see the first tournament along with the lead up to the tournament that we're about to go into right now and such. The flow is really kind of like interesting and such. And I almost kind of feel almost the exact same way that I did when reading Daisy Jones and the Six, more specifically and such, because like I loved a lot of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books and such, which is why I think that this could be an easy 5-star. But at this point, I don't know what I would rate it and such, just because of just like, it's not that I'm disliking it. I'm loving the story. I'm loving the characterization that we're getting. I'm loving just like a lot of things and such, but I'm just kind of torn on what rating I'm going to give this, because I am very much entertained. And also, I never thought that I would like toxic characters, but when Taylor Jenkins Reid writes them, apparently I love a little bit of toxicities and such like that, you know? There's a fly by the camera it's going to die soon and such like that, but you know, it's going to die. I know it's going to die because I'm going to kill it. But pretty much and such, Carrie, she's one of the more like toxic of Taylor Jenkins Reid's characters and such like that. For my friends and such like that who've read Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six, you know that there's a lot of toxic characters within those books specifically and such. But one of the things I really did love and such, and like what I do love and such, is getting to know Carrie's backstory and also why she is the way that she is. And again, Taylor, she has some wonderful quotes within this book, you know? It's just like, it's so beautiful just to kind of read and just kind of see, because she really is a lyricist when it comes to this stuff. And I'm really liking that aspect of the book specifically and such. So yeah, that's kind of my halfway check-in that I have for Carrie Soto is back. I will probably come back and such like that with more like fuller thoughts and what I'm really thinking, because I predicted that this could be a 5-star. Maybe it will be, but I am honestly not too sure at this point. I'm really not too sure. So we shall see, to be honest with you, exactly how this is going to turn out. But yeah, I will check in with you guys when I am done reading Carrie Soto is Back. Hey again, friends. So I am finally coming to you with an update because I have finally finished a book for this vlog. I've been recording this vlog for maybe about 2, coming up on 3 weeks, I think, to be honest with you. Because to be honest with you, this vlog, like I said at the beginning, it's not going to go up on my actual birthday because life got chaotic really, really fast. A lot of things were happening with me in the semester and such, and I just needed to just fix a couple of things, to say the least. So it's not going on my birthday, unfortunately, but you guys don't want to hear me yap about that too much. You guys are here for the book review. And which book did I finally finish? I finally finished reading Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, you guys know I have a very big repertoire with Taylor Jenkins Reid and her writing and how she writes things. And I will say she's gotten 2 6-stars and 1 4.5. I will say I thought this would be a 5-star, but I didn't quite get that 5-star feeling, but I am going to settle on a 4.25. I know that's really hyper specific, you know, but a 4-star just doesn't seem like it does it justice, to say the least, you know. To be honest with you, I wasn't too sure how much I was going to like this story, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to, but I feel like I wasn't as connected to the characters as I was in like Seven Husbands or Daisy Jones, or even Atmosphere even as well too, which is perfectly fine. From what was talked about a lot within this book, it's a really, really good use of making me care about toxic characters, because let me tell you about that. Taylor Jenkins Reid, some people really like reading about toxic characters. Some people really don't, because it makes them like feel like they're like watching reality TV, and some people may not like reality TV too much and such. I'm one of those people where it depends on what the reality TV show is, but this one, I literally felt like I was reading kind of like the memoir almost of Carrie Soto and how she became who she was and who she became at the end of this last tournament that she did in order to try and get her record back and such. And it was really kind of fascinating to follow that, which I did love that aspect. I loved seeing Carrie and her father's dynamic, not just as her dad, dad, but also as her coach, and why she decided to choose tennis in the first place, and why like she decided to become the person that she is today. We also get to see her kind of talking with some of the other players. We get to see a little romance as well too, which I thought was really, really fun. There are lots of beautiful elements in here, and I really, really, really did love it. I just didn't love it as much as her other books, unfortunately. I really thought I would give it a 5-star just because of how much I love her storylines and such, but a 4.25 in my opinion is not a bad rating whatsoever. I would recommend this. The only thing that I think I really kind of had a qualm with is sometimes I'm not a tennis person. I've never really been too interested in tennis. I have like friends of friends and such like that who do play tennis and do like tennis and such. So I will say it is an interesting sport, but sometimes a little bit of the jargon got a little bit away from me sometimes, and sometimes I wasn't able to completely keep up with it and such, but she did do it in a palatable way that made it just a little bit easier for someone who is a novice to the tennis sport, which I myself am a novice and such. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I'm not going to get into spoilers and such, but I did really like it. I do think that it's a really good one if you want to kind of dive into a little bit of historical fiction. This one's kind of historical, but not really. It mostly takes place in like the 80s and the 90s mostly. So I would say this is like her closest to more like contemporary fiction-ish almost, you know? I don't know how many years ago the 90s was, to be honest with you, but I digress. But Carrie Soto is back. Official rating 4.25. Not a bad book whatsoever. Now to dive into a little bit of changes that I've made. So at the beginning of the vlog, I said that I would read next either The Final Gambit or King of Envy by Anna Huang. And I will read those eventually. I just kind of outgrew them right now. And I feel like that if I read them right now, I would not like them. So I was looking at my shelf because The Defender recently came out on like October 26th. It's like the 9th right now as I'm recording this. My birthday is 2 days away. And I was thinking, could I read The Defender? But I'm like, no, I want to give it its proper time and proper place to be able to read that as well too. And then I thought about the other books of hers that I haven't read that are a little bit more of an older taste. And I think it would just be perfect just to see because they're kind of a little mini duology within the series itself. But we have what is this called? If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang, and then the companion novel, which is If the Sun Never Sets. We have those two, and then the other two are back there on the shelf as well too, like right around here essentially, you know. And the reason why I decided to choose these two instead of reading The Final Gambit / King of Envy, like I said, I'm not really in the mood for them right now. I feel like that I need to be in the proper mood to be able to give them the love they deserve and such, because I do believe that I can love those, but I don't know, they could be hidden 5 stars, but I'm just not in the mood for those right now. So we will see if we can try and get 5 stars out of these. Basically the premise of this book and such like that is that it follows this 19-year-old girl named Feyre, and she's bound determined that she's going to fall in love during her year abroad in Shanghai. She's sure of it, but the only problem of it and such like that is that she's in love with her new friend's boyfriend. And there's nothing worse than being in love with someone you can't have, or at least she thinks it's love. And then she can't stop fantasizing about someone else, specifically this cocky blonde athlete with the world's biggest ego and greatest dimple. And then it goes into Blake Ryan. He's mentioned a little bit within the Annaverse and such like that, but he is / was a college football star who shocked the sports world when he quit after his 3rd national championship. And instead of dealing with the fallout, he escapes to Shanghai, where he vows to keep life simple. No football, no commitment, no romance, but no matter how hard he tries, he can't keep a certain beautiful brunette off his mind or out of his heart. What starts as a physical attraction develops into something much deeper as Blake and Feyre get swept into the magic of Shanghai and each other. But they only have 1 year, and there are forces outside their control that threaten to rip them apart. And then I've heard that this takes place after this novel. I have not looked at the blurb on the back of this one, but they're fairly short books. Like if you look at them, they're really, really short. They are pretty simple and easy reads as well too. So I feel like I can get done with them soon. Plus also, If We Ever Meet Again is also on my 25 books to read in 2025. So that will get something out of the way for me as well too. So if you guys did want to see me read The Final Gambit and King of Envy, they will probably be in later videos, either later this year. Oh my God, there's one of those bug thingies. Give me 1 second, bro. Oh my God. Okay, crisis averted, to say the least. Crisis averted. I do not remember what the hell I was saying, but I'm guessing it was something along the lines of I've decided to read these 2 books instead of the other books. Oh yes, and that they will be read in other like vlogs. I just don't think it's proper for me to read them right now, essentially. So I think later tonight, it's Sunday night, I've got maybe about an hour until the new episode of It Welcome to Derry drops. So I'm going to watch that. I might start a little bit of this, and then probably sometime this week you will see me read Wild Reverence, because I've gotten a little bit farther into that and I have like just under 3 hours left of that book. So with a couple of trips back and forth to school and such, I will probably come back with an update on that. And you will also see me reading a little bit If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang. Besties. It is currently Tuesday, November 11th, aka my birthday. This is going up like a little bit after my birthday, but if you all want to wish me happy birthday in the comments, feel free. I don't mind personally, but that's not why I'm also just coming to update you. But I've come to update you because yesterday on November 10th, I finished reading Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, and I was torn on this rating for a little bit, and I'll tell you a little bit why I was torn on this rating, to say the least. So I'm going to put this up here because I'm not going to be holding that damn thing and such like that as I'm talking. Like, my thoughts really haven't changed too much since I last spoke to you guys about this. I think the only thing, like, it was sitting in the 4.25, 4.5 camp for a while, and it just kind of kept going down, to say the least. It's just one of those things where like the beginning setup was great, and then I kind of got stuck in the middle, and then the ending felt really, really rushed, in my opinion. Personally, I'm not sure why I think it felt like rushed, to be honest with you. I'm still trying to figure that out personally myself, and I did enjoy it. My rating overall was a 4-star. I really thought I could love this book, and for a while I thought I was getting 5-star feelings, but then I just ended up not. And specifically, a lot of my qualms have to do with the pacing of the romance and just the pacing of the overall story. The beginning, we basically get Matilda's childhood. The middle, we kind of get the conflict between Vincent and Matilda and such like that. This is not spoilers. It's on the back of the book that they need to come together again and such, And then the ending, it was fine. I mean, I just really didn't have any emotions, to say the least. I really did not have too many emotions. I do think the love story between Vincent and Matilda were great, but it was good, but like not the greatest thing, Like, I think I feel more for Iris and Roman than I do for Matilda and Vincent, personally, and such. If we're going into this, like, Letters of Enchantment series and such, I feel more for Iris and Roman than I do for Vincent and Matilda, unfortunately. But I did like it. I did like, the one thing I think that really kind of saved me was just thinking about this as if as Matilda is just telling me the story about the gods, because the ending, the epilogue specifically, we get to see a prominent character within the first two books, the duology essentially that follows Iris and Roman. We get to see her enter into the story and such, and low-key the ending kind of pissed me off because I get why it had to be done like that, but also at the same time I was just like, really? But I would still recommend it. I just think if I were to rank the three books and such like that, I would put Divine Rivals first, Wild Reverence second, and then Ruthless Vows third. I'm not too sure why. Actually, I do know exactly why and such. It's just one of those things. It's hard to explain without getting into spoilers, and I don't feel like going into spoilers right now personally and such. And I do think that if you did like the Letters of Enchantment duology and you were craving more of the magic and more of the understanding of how the magic of the gods works and how specifically the gods function, I think this is a great prequel, honestly. But I do think that you benefit from reading it afterwards, So I get it takes place like years and years before the events of Iris and Roman's story in Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. But I do think that it is essential for learning a little bit more about what the story of the gods are. And like I said, and such like that, the story did feel like Matilda was basically telling me like a bedtime story about the gods and her life and such like that, and it was just like, plus there were also just so many things where I was just like, Matilda, what are you doing? Like, girl, are we for real, And I know this sounds like that I don't like it. I mean, I do. I really, really do, because I think the story was captivating. The story was emotional. It's just some of the execution process was fine. And I will say, Rebecca Ross, she is a wordsmith. She writes very, very beautifully, very poetic, and like has very good prose. I will say that. But like, I don't know. This one didn't do it for me personally. And I really thought that this was going to be a 5-star. Out of all of them, I really thought that this one was going to be a 5-star, but still in the goodish range and such like that. It's a 4-star. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on Wild Reverence. And I don't have too much to say on If We Ever Meet Again, because I'm literally only like 5 chapters in, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. So I can't really say anything too much except for like, you can tell that this was her first ever novel just because of the way it's written and some of the cliches and such. Like I'm pretty sure everybody has had that feeling whenever they read like their authors, like their favorite authors, like first ever novels. They're like, okay, yeah, that's where you came from, and now you've just grown and grown and grown, And I think Anna has done that, Twisted got her really, really popular. Kings of Sin, honestly, I think is one of her better written series and such on emotional levels and physical levels and things like that. So I can't really say too much about If We Ever Meet Again, but I will probably come back to you with halfway check-in marks of that and such. And I was low-key thinking about starting one of my book club books, maybe, to be honest with you, but I have no idea, to be honest with you. This blog is kind of a little bit all over the place because I've been filming this for almost about a month or so. It's been a while, to say the least. I've been recording this video so much that I'm just like kind of tired, but like, I don't know, to be honest with you. And maybe I won't come in with a halfway check mark. I have no idea, to be honest with you, but that's pretty much all I can tell you now and such. And yeah, I will come back to you guys either when I have thoughts on If We Ever Meet Again, or if I decide to randomly start another book. Honestly, we shall see. Hey again, friends. Are you guys sick of seeing my face already? Because I feel like I've just been non-stop talking in this video. And let's be honest, we gotta talk. So I was looking at the stats and like the recording dates for when I first started recording for this video, and that was nearly on October 18th. It is now November 14th, to say the least, as I'm recording this. And I have been bombarded with school stuff and life stuff and just so many unexpected things that I haven't been able to read at the proper speed that I would like. And you guys know that I started picking up If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang. I'm like about 40% into that book, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm 40% into this one. And I am enjoying it, but I feel like I'm getting into one of those other situations with Wild Reverence where I can really only find the time to listen to it in the car, and it's just like, I don't know, just something about it. I'm just like, I'm vibing with it, but also not really, you know what I mean? So I think I am going to softy enough this book for now. I will say, Anna, you guys know that Anna is one of my favorite authors of all goddamn time. I will praise her. But in order for me to properly give this book the chance it deserves, I need to put it down. I need to put it down because I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired of like it and such like that. And I just want to be able to give it its proper chance, essentially. And I can't do that if I just continue on and continue on and continue on, essentially. So we have that. And I just kind of wanted to come in here and also just like, because like, I look at my bookshelf and I'm like, I'm not too sure what's going to give me a 5-star right now. And I feel like I've kind of lost the concept of this video, but you know what? It's my first time doing it. It's fine. A lot of these things I'm doing for the first time and I'm navigating while I'm going to college during my last semester and making sure that everything is ready for graduation and things like that. So I'm learning. So I hope you guys don't fault me for this. It is going to be a longer video, I will say that, but I think just to save myself from like potentially like not liking any books, I think I need to take a little mini break. So I'm going to end the video here. This is going to be the end of the video. So I'm pretty sure you guys can probably tell in the way that my voice sounds as well too, that I'm just very tired. So just to kind of end it off, we'll do a little recap of the books that we read. So the only 2 books that we got to in this video was Wild Reverence and Carrie Soto is Back. To start off with Wild Reverence, I gave that book a 4-star, but if I'm being honest, as I'm thinking about it, I think I would lower it to a 3.5, 3.75. I still enjoyed it, but I feel like near the end, it really kind of lost me, and I was just listening to it just to hear it end, And I mean, the epilogue is kind of a little bit what saved me as well, too. I did like the epilogue and learning about a certain thing that is a very big part of Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I'm very much, I don't know how to feel. That's the thing. I really don't know how to feel about this situation. I mean, it was a good book. I would recommend it, especially if you've read the Letters of Enchantment duology. And even though that this is a prequel set like well beforehand and such, I would recommend reading the duology first and then reading Wild Reverence. And it's fine, I guess. It's just that. It's fine, It's fine. And then with Carrie Soto is Back, gave that a 4.25. I'm leaning more towards 4-star, but I think that one's going to stay at a steady 4.25 personally and such. I had a lot of a better time when reading Carrie Soto's Back than I did with Wild Reverence. I will say that. And it sucks because I thought I was going to give those 2 5-stars because I love both of those authors. And I mean, I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, but I'll be honest, I don't know if anything she produces is going to be bigger than Atmosphere, but a girl can dream. It's a-okay. But those are the recap on the things and such like that. And of course, obviously, Softy and Nothing, If We Ever Meet Again, by Anna Huang. For now, I do plan on picking it up in the future. I just don't think right now is the time for me to read it, unfortunately. But that's a-okay. So that is pretty much it. Thank you guys again for watching. Sorry if it was a little bit lackluster as well too. I just did not realize how much of school would be kicking my ass right now, and I'm trying to make sure that I make content for you guys and try and get it up either every single Sunday, either between like 11 a.m. to like 1 p.m. or whatever and such. And it's just like I'm learning, and just trying to like figure out what my reading speed is and depending on like what books as well too. So again, thank you guys again for watching. Be sure to like and comment down below if you've read any of these books. And why don't you comment a tennis ball emoji as well too? Yeah, comment a tennis ball emoji and such like that. So yeah, my social medias are popping up on the screen currently, but I will see you guys in the next video, and I really hope that you guys have an amazing day, week, month, and year. See you later, friends.